Taylor Swift, Out the Woods, to fulfill your pop needs, everyone.
Yeah. I just love pop music. Good pop music.
What
Um
about that song in particular? What warms your cockles about that song?
I think that one stands out from the album for me. And it's just like the chorus is so simple, but at the same time it's not. And it just does exactly what it set out to do. And again, it's something that can easily have like way too much cheese in it, but she does it where it's like just the right amount of cheese. Um, yeah. I don't know. What did you think of that song, Amy?
Personally, the repetition of "Are we out of the woods yet?" was a bit too long of a repetition for me. I'd like
Okay.
another sentence in that,
Right.
but I get what you're saying. Like generally, like I wouldn't say that's a necessarily cheesy song. That's it's a good pop song, you know.
Hmm. I think so too.
Yeah. So I'm
um,
open minded,
yeah.
folks. I'm open.
I never
I'm
said
open to
you
some
weren't.
TayTay.
Some TayTay. Getting
TayTay.
down with
The thing
TayTay.
is, a lot of the people that I've kind of worked with in the past do love Taylor Swift, um,
Nice.
and usually it does actually happen to be country artists. And I think that comes
Okay.
down to the way country artists, or at least people that have had a hand in country music write songs, is a bit different
Yeah. Yeah,
to other writers.
definitely. That's interesting. Yeah, because I'm not a country artist. I don't know how to write country music. But that's very interesting. And yeah, I mean that's what she did at first. So makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you did. She had quite a like. What age was she when her first kind of album
S-
was out? She was quite a young buck, wasn't she?
I can't remember if she released the album or if she signed um with her label. Uh but she was 16 years old.
Yeah,
Um
man. Like that's young.
that's
That's
so young.
yeah.
I mean, I I wasn't even writing songs when I was 16. I didn't know you could write songs. I was like, for me it was this whole different thing that only geniuses could do, and it was like it was otherworldly. Um yeah.
So when did you write your first song then? You're like
For my
18 or what?
for my portfolio for university.
Really?
Mhm. And I have to thank my dad because I I did the first submission and they said, "Okay, we'd like you to send in a portfolio now." And I was like, "I can't write songs." And my dad was like, "No, Faye, like you're going to do it. Like just you have to do it. You have to write songs. You can do it." And he told me about like he always tells this story about how the Rolling Stones manager like locked them in a kitchen or something until they came out with a song because they were only doing covers, and then they came out with Satisfaction, I think. Don't quote me on this. Um don't know if it's totally right. And I'm not comparing myself to the Rolling Stones either. But that's the story my dad would tell me. Um so I have to thank him.
Big
For
up Faye's
yeah.
dad for starting
Yeah.
this journey she's been set on.
Yeah. When did you start writing songs?
The first okay, oddly enough, the first song I wrote, I wouldn't class it as writing a song. I felt I was writing for a persona. Um,
Interesting.
because it was when I started secondary school, we had like a drama class, and I was playing like a hobo, like a homeless person.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, what would a what kind of things would a homeless person write about?
Mm.
So I wrote a song to do with that. It was about kind of not being able to pay bills and like wife left me for
Oh,
not being useful or whatever. Um,
that's really interesting.
and
That's an
then when
interesting. Sorry, go
so
on.
but I think the first song I said like I'm writing a song. Was probably around 14, 15, I'd say.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It wasn't good. It was an awful song, and I look back on it now. I was like, "That's atrocious. Why did I do
I mean,
that?"
I I was so convinced that when I got accepted into uni, I was convinced that they had messed up my application with someone else's, that I wasn't supposed to be in that room.
Really?
Yeah. Like I was not good. And that's not me being um like self-doubting or self-deprecating or anything. Like I wasn't very good. I think I got really good grades and I was good at the business side, which now looking back at it, I think that's how I got in. And
Mm.
also, um it was one of the lecturers that gave me the audition that also I think had or it made a difference um
Yeah.
on my result. Yeah.
I think that kind of interview esque
Mm.
element to it is such a big thing
Yeah.
when it comes to accepting people.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like yeah, I was good at the talking and I was good at the business side of stuff and that's how I got in, but at the beginning I was like I'm convinced I'm not supposed to be here. um but
And what do you feel about it now?
I think I'm glad I persisted because I still like I don't think I'm, you know, a great songwriter now. I think some stuff I do are fine and there's a few things that I think I actually do think this is good and I'm proud of this one and then some stuff where I'm like this is just bad, but that's okay too cuz it's an exercise like I always see it as an exercise. And I'm yeah, I'm glad that I persisted because I think it is something that you can learn um to a certain extent, of course, but I do think that you can learn it and yeah,
I think it is something that can be acquired, but it does take work.
it does, yeah. And a lot of the work is to do with yourself. It's looking inwards and overcoming something within yourself, which is usually fear.
Mm.
Um I don't know if you've felt that. I mean, I'm sure most of us have. But
We've all felt fear, 100%.
yeah, but fear
It's
specifically as in like fear of your music not being as good as you want it to be.
That's what I meant. I
Um
meant like as musicians talking about their work. Yeah,
yeah.
we've felt that.
Yeah.
It's it's something that I think is needed to be a
Absolutely.
musician.
Yeah.
If you're saying everything you put out is fucking amazing,
Yeah.
then you're gonna lose the will to do
Exactly.
something better. Like
Exactly.
I'm gonna. Where do you see this segue? Where do you see this? We all have our flaws as musicians, don't
Mhm.
we?
Mhm.
And it can eat away at us sometimes. I know
It can.
I would say my flaw was I always thought that my own music wouldn't be well received. Not
Yeah.
necessarily that it wasn't good. I just
Yeah.
thought I haven't found the right. I haven't found that audience for it yet.
Yeah. And for some people, like some people will confuse those two things so much, whether it's good and whether it's well received.
Yeah.
Um, but that also very depends on the type of music you're doing, because if you are setting out to do pop music like Dua Lipa, Taylor Swift, then the definition of pop music is that it's well received.
Yeah.
So
I think
it very
there's
much depends.
what a lot of artists that are a little bit, left field or trying to do something different.
Mm,
They they aren't necessarily looking for mass appeal. They want a particular group of people that are very dedicated.
exactly.
That's the
Um,
difference.
yeah. Like I think of FK Twigs or Grimes.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, when I think of that, because it's not something I'll listen to casually.
Yes, you need to be like aware of what you're listening to when you go into that.
Exactly. And there's a massive appreciation for them, for their art and for their craft when you do listen to it, but it has a certain place and time, I feel like.
There really are a few songs like as you were saying, like FK Twigs and that lot is, yeah, you can't, that's not songs that you do your washing to. That's that's something
Mm,
you need to be invested in. You need to set time apart to listen to that.
exactly. Yeah.
But how would you think about the evolution of Daughter as a band and bringing it back to Flaws?
Yeah. Um I was in a band in second year, and my guitarist introduced me to Daughter, and I'm like forever grateful to him for that. And it fulfilled exactly what I needed and what I was feeling at that time. Um and like the way they've evolved is so interesting, cuz it has always followed me, or I've always followed them, and it's always satisfied what I'm needing at a point in time. So there's two songs that um that we might listen to. I don't know.
Oh,
One of them is their latest album, which was actually a soundtrack album for a video game, which I listened to so much, and um again, like very cinematic kind of stuff that I love. And then the singer um released her first solo album, I think it was in 2019, around Christmas 2019. Um and that album is very sad. But I was at like probably like the lowest point um that I'd ever been at, and it was just like listening like my diary, and I was like it just
hmm.
it was there for me, and I got
Just
so sad
resonated.
with it. Yeah, like I just got so sad with it, and I had to, and it allowed me to do that. Um and yeah, now I'm less sad, so I don't listen to it as much, which is good. I mean, it's a shame because I don't listen to it as much, and it's a really good album, but it's also good that I'm not very sad anymore.
Yeah, pros
But
and cons to music, isn't
exactly.
it?
Yeah, exactly.
So what one do you want to listen to?
Um, let's listen to the solo one first.
And name that tune for us, Faye.
Sorry. Romance by X-Ray, which is um, her artist name.
Let's have a listen.
Mhm.
If you've got a feeling that you can't put into words, don't worry, friends.
Because there's a song for that.